DC Drano I had a history with him because at the very end of last year, DC Drano was part of a group that got paid to support Amendment 3 in Florida. For your listeners that aren't familiar with Amendment 3, Amendment 3 was a constitutional amendment, so to the Florida Constitution, that would allow a monopoly or an oligopoly of the cannabis companies in Florida. And before that, they tried to make hemp illegal so that they and only they would be able to sell hemp, cannabis, and any derivative thereof. So they tried to monopolize the entire market. And that includes over 10,000 Floridians who are in business here in Florida for cannabis and hemp. So they tried to push this through, and they paid somebody like DC Drano $164,000 to promote Amendment 3. And so, of course, if you were looking to these influencers like, hey, should I vote for Amendment 3 or not? DC Drano was paid a lot of money to do it. And he said that he never posted on X, because on X you can't say that it's a paid advertisement. And I proved that wrong, because he literally posted on something that I said, and he was like, Martha, you're involved in the hemp industry. You're the one that's a sellout. So he was using the money that he was being paid to promote things to attack people on X, myself in particular. So when Thomas Massie posted something about DC Drano, well, I had the receipts, and I was happy to prove it. We had the records from the Florida Department of Elections that showed that he had received $164,000 from Smart and Safe Florida to promote Amendment 3, which was a horrible amendment. And he is, in fact, being paid a lot of money.
So I have a question.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm not on social media, so I don't know who these characters are a lot of the times, but I appreciate this is great. I like this.
Well, it's never
He's
good.
got 2 million followers. He's kind of big on X.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these guys all kind of collude together. They boost their posts. They make sure that they're, Charlie Kirk is kind of at the head of the table, but there's a lot of these guys that just kind of, they latch on, if you will. Basically, somebody like DC Drano kind of took Steven Crowder's spot, I guess you'd say, and so they have these. They just figure out ways to make money. We've got this. Look at what's going on in California right now. And I am of the mind that while climate change does play a role in the expediting of the wildfires were caused because of complete government negligence in Southern California. It is not controversial and shouldn't be controversial in any way. And the idea that Governor Newsom goes on with maybe the biggest grifters on the left, Pod Save America. I mean, it's the same thing.
Wait, can I just ask you, so all this in front of me. So I see that you definitely got a shout out by Thomas Massie. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. But like when I see these, like, I don't know the order of things of what's happening, and I don't understand. So he's claiming he does all this for free, and then clearly he does not. Is that what it is? Yeah.
So he basically told Thomas Massie, nobody pays me to call you out. So what I think happened here is Thomas Massie is speaking, the truth to AIPAC and to all of these things. And so the influencers, probably in a coordinated attack, went against Thomas Massie. I mean, that to me just was like mind blowing. Like, what are we doing here? So I was, of course, paying attention to it. And then he's like, nobody pays me to call this one that you have in front of you. What's funny is nobody pays me to call out your hypocrisy and anti-Trump obstructionism. I do it all for free. So, there's another tweet there where I reposted. I'm like, really, for free? And I pull up the receipts. Clearly, he was talking about calling out Thomas Massie, but he's also making it seem like he doesn't get paid to tweet, which is complete and utter BS.
Right. And he's clearly one of their paid mouthpieces, clearly.
100%. He has a company. I forgot the name of the company. Something draining. I don't know. That's where the money goes to. And he has a company that gets paid to then promote things on social media. And according to DC Drano, he only does it on Instagram and on TikTok, because those are the places where you can say this is paid advertising. So again, we caught him lying also by posting about certain things, including this against Thomas Massie on social media. So, I mean, it's just one grift after the other. I'm sure there's many more. We all know that there's tons of people on on both sides. There's tons of these influencers on both sides, and they band together. And when you see all of these influencers all talking about the same thing, that is done on purpose. That is to boost the algorithm, to make sure that this topic is the thing that is trending, to make sure that everybody's engaged with this topic. So therefore, you're bound to see it, and you're definitely going to talk about it and, share it with your friends and everything, because these are the people that you think know what they're talking about. And I just find this whole thing quite disgusting. Yeah, we all participate in it by being on X, but yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, I remember hearing a lot about it after the Kamala campaign, with the amount of talking heads and influencers that they paid off to spread what I felt at the time and now know were lies about how well she was doing in the polls and all this stuff. And it's exactly that. They give you all the talking points, they give you your checklist, and then they send you forward to just go out and put out this information. And most of those people don't have any integrity anyway. None. So they're going to just put out whatever is in front of them. So, and most of the people that do it work for stations. Like, a lot of this is very mainstream too. So they work for networks and stations that are just all owned by the same companies that are putting out this message. I mean, it's like one giant grift, and it's just a matter of picking out the few people that you can and calling them out on it.
Yeah.
Now, I know you have a problem with the senator from Vermont, who's really a socialist, and of course, coming from Cuba, it's a big problem. But, this really started in many ways during the Bernie campaign in 2016. You had all of these coordinated efforts led probably by Neera Tanden running the Center for American Progress, learning where all their money's coming from, to basically go out there and boost Hillary Clinton and completely shit on Bernie Sanders. And now it's kind of transitioned somewhat away from corporate media. Corporate media is not dead yet. We're trying to.
Oh, it's
pretty close.
Though.
Yeah. That horse is almost. You just.
Yeah. But now you're moving it onto the platforms that we're accustomed to, and that's why you see the likes online of. I always point to David Pakman as being probably the biggest grifter of them all on the Democratic side. But then on the Republican side, you have Ben Shapiro. And these guys just essentially Ben Shapiro is the running joke, because whenever you associate Ben, it's always him reading some type of an advertisement. Yes, I am doing what you tell me to do, and just pay me the money and we'll go ahead. And that'll be it. And it's funny, but it's actually not, because there are millions of people that follow these channels, and we're still living in an age where they have a lot of information. But there's a lot of people who are easily swayed by this shit. And I think that that's very dangerous, especially right now with everything that's going on, and the fact that the war, the beating of the war drums is at such a high level right now. It's so dangerous. You could cut it with a knife. And I'm thinking, we really, whether we're ideologically lined up completely or not, we have to figure out ways to cross-pollinate, as Jen likes to say. And figure out.
I totally agree. One of the people that I saw immediately thereafter was Jack Posobiec, whom I thought was totally legit and on our team, whatever that is. And I saw him calling out and saying that we all have to support DC Drano because he's been Team Trump since the very beginning. And this Thomas
what does that matter? Like, honest to God, what does that even matter? Oh, you've been Team Trump from the beginning, so that makes
Thank you.
You want to, when those liberal shitbags in the Beltway call you a cult, comments like that validate their bougie upper class audience.
100%.
They're a bunch of cult members.
Yeah.
I ranted. So I was literally in my car, stuck in traffic, and I see this post and I was like, wait a minute. So I actually ranted for 2-3 minutes, and it's gotten a whole lot of views. Last I checked was over 50-something thousand views. So clearly we're not alone in that feeling, because that was my point. It's listen, we all have the ability to fail. Trump isn't infallible. We have to call people out when they're right. We have to call people out when they're wrong. And so, yes, I know there's a lot of people that are everything Trump does is absolutely perfect. And it's no, wait a minute. No, because he's not king. And none of us signed up to have a king, even if you voted for him, even if you believe in Trump. If you believed in before that in Biden, you still have to call out what's right. You have to call out what's wrong. I saw a lot of people calling out, especially people on the left, calling out Biden's blanket pardon to his son. And that, I think, was an amazing thing to watch. It's you know what, President Biden, that's fucked up. You went ahead and you pardoned your son for things he hasn't even been charged of, therefore he can't be charged for it. And what is he hiding? Why is that happening? And then the people on the right are like, yeah, that's great. But now everything Trump does is perfect and we're just going to blanket accept it because, whatever. And DC Drano, he's been supporting Trump for 10 plus years. So we have to just blanket support him. No, that's not how this works. And I think a lot of people are sick and tired of, this.